Okay, we just wrapped up a great episode with Ann Matthews, Energy Trian, fertility expert. Yeah? I don't want to get your title wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like we could go bigger than that.
We can.
How big?
I feel like you've got a lot of acronyms next to your title.
I was gonna say spell GAWD. I'll give you that much credit.
Yes.
You know?
That sounds more like, oh my God.
Fertility, like food god, and
Like
then Gucci.
from New York.
Yeah,
Gad.
fertility god. Or
Mom of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we had a great conversation, talked a lot about vulvas.
Not as much as I would have liked,
Yeah.
to be
More
honest.
about sperm.
Yeah.
More
And-
about sperm and how important it is.
Yeah.
Also
steps.
educating yourself.
Yeah.
And advocating for yourself.
Advocacy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, take a listen, guys. We hope you like it. All right. Welcome to the pod. Energy Trian. Do you want to give a little intro on exactly? I feel like you do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And maybe you can give our listeners, if they don't already know you, just a quick
Rundown.
Synopsis?
rundown. Yeah.
Okay. So I mostly do fertility acupuncture. I'm also a mother of 6 children. I also have a fitness online. Is it online fitness? It's online fitness. I'm basically Melissa Wood. And
What? I didn't know that
You're
part, though.
I'm sorry. You
I
also,
didn't know
was there
that.
anything else you wanted to
Except-
add to that? Because
Yeah,
that
no,
was a
that's-
pretty
that's
heavy
about it.
resume.
That was
That's
cute.
about it.
Also, you put family before Melissa Wood.
but just barely. And it was only so that I could say that I don't let my kids climb on me when I'm working out.
Oh, okay. Wait, can
Yeah.
I give you also? I feel like I know you kind of for the past like 3 minutes that we've hung out,
Yeah.
but you're 1,000 times cooler than Melissa Wood.
Whoa.
And I don't even think you should.
Wow.
I think you keep it. I think you
Wow.
keep it
Her
more
shit
real.
is
you keep
her
it real.
shit is. I cannot handle that. Her energy, actually,
I-
energy tree.
Really feel like I'm very yang, if you will, very like movie.
Yeah.
And she's very yin and cool with like layered necklaces and various spritzes for her
Yes.
face.
Lots
Yeah.
of spritzes.
A lot of ironing of skin.
There's a lot of green juices.
You know,
She loves those body tools.
Oh,
Listen,
the brushes, the
Listen,
brushing.
I don't shit on anyone
Ironing.
that's like working out, doing their thing, motivating people. Honestly, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not even shitting on that. But it just like, some people are your vibe, some people are not your vibe.
Yeah.
She ain't not my vibe. And maybe she was at one point, but just the way she's evolved on Instagram, I'm like, I don't understand what group she's in. Like, are you with the We Were What crew, or are you like, and the husband? I don't understand the husband.
husband.
Noah. It is a weird
With
dynamic
the tongue.
with the.
They
Always. In the pictures. What is
I know.
this?
I don't know. And
What?
I don't know.
I don't know
and
if I've
that
noticed the tongue.
Oh, you
And
won't.
his-
Well, I
see
will.
it?
I will now.
Yes.
I will see
kids
the
are
tongue.
adorable. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, okay. So we didn't know about that. The workout
Yeah.
I
online
actually-
empire. So
Yeah.
I
Have
mean,
you? Her
that's-
recipes
that's a
are
stretch.
next level.
and
Whoa.
it's cooking. Wait, you didn't say that. You said
She- It
online
includes food.
workouts.
And everything is like gluten free, like refined, like
Gum free.
guar gum free. she does it all. She does it
Kind of-
all.
Okay, but you're not annoying. It sounds like
You're
would
not
be.
annoying
Wow.
about
You
it.
sounds like you would be based on that list. Like
No.
if I didn't know you, and I was just like, oh, this is what we're dealing with right now. She
Like,
sounds so.
Get her
Get her out. We don't
You
want
know
her
what? I'm
on.
gonna sit this podcast out.
today.
But I think it's
actually-
true. There's a lot of influencers out there who make people feel bad about not having it all, and you do have it all,
The
and
only
you
reason,
don't make people feel
and
bad.
also because your street cred is probably one of the top street cred in Toronto, hands down. No, and don't even give that face. Like when people are like, I met Anne from Energy
Oh
Tree,
my God.
and they're like, she touched my vulva, and now
I didn't
have-
touch anyone's vulva. I want that on record.
I don't even know what that is.
Anne's like, wait a second
Losing
here. That's
my license
literally
as
not
we
what I do.
speak.
Not
They're
what
like,
I
and
do.
now I'm an octo mom. And I'm like, what? And then like another story will be like, I just walked by Anne and
And I'm pregnant.
I'm pregnant. And like, I was just like, wow, like, wow.
Get her away from me.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, until I'm ready for phase 2.
Don't come near
Anne.
either of us.
It's
I mean,
too
if you make me pregnant, it would be immaculate conception at
They
this
moved me
point.
to
I've got
this
no
chair
eggs.
with explicit instructions.
Crossing
Do not
I'm
touch us.
crossing my legs.
So what? So when do people? Because you see so many women.
I do.
So, like,
And a few chaps here and there.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Okay.
odds sprinkling.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's fair. Figure
of
it's-
male infertility situations. I actually love sperm. I don't
Ew.
like love it on me or like near me, but I love it
The idea.
for what it can do.
Sorry, what could Lanny not say, but that was okay? You can't touch vulvas.
I don't touch anyone's vulva,
but
but
the
if you spray
swallowing
me with
sperm
no.
is where Anne draws the line. Okay, so someone like me that doesn't know a lot about Miss Energy Tree over here. So like, let's just go into why also like, so why you what you would do like why someone would say, hey, I'm gonna go
I'm coming to Energy
for
Tree, Anne.
acupuncture and blah blah blah, because I feel like that's
And
people
what's the
don't-
age? What's the
people
like?
don't
What
know-
do you recommend?
people don't know when to start looking into shit, start to understand their bodies, until they start trying to get pregnant. That is like just what happens. I feel like unless you have this weird ass period and you don't have any serious, like, I guess, red flags growing up, it's like you do that, you get on some type of protection so you're not a teen mom in most situations. And then you get off it and it's let's go.
And then you have no
Yes.
idea.
Like,
And
that's
we've talked
literally
about
your
this.
fertility health. Like, it's like, and then you try and you're like, oh, JK, like I have this or I have that. And that's what I think. And people don't want the memo before but if there was a way to, I guess, understand yourself more or your body going into it, it would at least be a little bit less.
Well, there's no education around this. We talked about this with Emily Getz too, where it's just like, they talk about other things in school. They talk about how not to get pregnant, but there's no education around fertility.
Yeah, the condom on the banana situation.
Condom on the banana, yeah.
Yuck.
Did that,
So I think you would want to come and start seeing me. I would wait until you've gone and had an assessment at your doctor's. So I'm really big on pushing your doctor or advocating for yourself. Make sure that everything is working. So on day 3 of your cycle, so that means like day 1 is the first day you see blood, day 2, day 3. Day 3 you go and you get a panel of blood work that's really helpful for identifying a whole host of potential issues. PCOS. You can see inflammatory markers, which can be indicative of endometriosis. You can see, estrogen being too high, which can be helpful to identify ovarian cysts. So there's so much that you can tell from that panel alone that sometimes that will then push your doctor into action, where you'll have an ultrasound, like a pelvic ultrasound. I think everybody should have that, well before they want to start having kids. Like I would recommend going and having that done, in university way before you're wanting to try, because let's say you identify that you don't have very many follicles on your ovaries or that your AMH is really low. That would be a good sign for you to go and potentially explore egg freezing.
Right.
And so then you're ahead of the curve as opposed to trying to play catch up later. Because then a lot of the time when you're in that game, the stress of the catch up is then contributing
Coupled
The
with
stress of actually getting pregnant.
That's right. And then that just worsens the whole situation. Makes everything into an emergency.
Right.
And
It's like
feeds
with
into
anything
your
in life,
fear.
if you can prepare yourself better for it. It's not even on people's radars that it's like, oh, I'm at this age, I should go.
Yeah.
And that's all free. Like, obviously, you
Right.
can go to your
Okay.
doctor. You can,
Yeah.
because egg freezing is a whole other
A whole-
fertility journey
a
that
whole
costs
other
a lot of
journey.
money. That's really expensive. But
It
if you're in
isn't
your
necessarily
20s,
appropriate. It's
Right.
actually not going to be appropriate for almost everybody.
right?
And so that's another issue. And I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but I don't really care. Because it's so irritating how I got really pissed off at Jennifer Aniston, my old friend Jenny and I.
Yeah.
I got
Well,
pissed off at her for
And
saying,
Anne's coming for you.
yeah, you knew I was
day.
mad at you, girl. So, and so
She
Also-
talked
Also,
about
she
her
talked
doesn't-
about how
doesn't
it's
have kids.
no,
Well,
but
no, but
she
she wrote
she
that
said,
big article came
if
out.
only I'd frozen my eggs, like that was the save all. And that's actually not a good solution for most people. And a lot of people get very pissed off because when they come in, they say, oh, my company covers egg freezing. And I always suggest to them, well, do 50% eggs and then 50%, choose a donor and make embryos, because then that's a genuine guarantee you have embryos. So if you want to have kids, make embryos now.
Don't just make
Like,
eggs.
don't make this like dream life. You don't necessarily need to have, I have a different opinion of this where it's like, I got 2 baby daddies, so who cares? I was
Yeah,
in it for the sperm. Just kidding, love. But
No,
you
I get,
like you
for you,
can't.
you're
it's
saying
not a
that's
guarantee.
safer, right.
Yeah.
It's a safer
if
bet.
who knows if those eggs that you froze at 22 are going to thaw? Who knows if they're going to fertilize? You don't know if they're going to create viable embryos because they haven't been sent off.
Is it a lot more, I guess, to find a donor and then to make an embryo? I mean, it's a
No,
lot.
because
Well, if the
it's
company's
all
funding
yeah,
it too, right?
It's all part of
Right. So then they would be like, here's your resume of X, Y,
That's
and
right, you
Z.
get,
Oh,
like,
a
a
little booklet.
binder.
Oh,
What
a
a dream.
binder.
You get
Video.
To, you get to.
Oh my God, video. I would make such good videos. I've always, with good music, it'd be like, this is Jerry. Went
Yes.
to Yale.
100.
Body looks
I
like
don't-
this. Oh my God, it's
yes.
like Hinge.
Yes.
Hinge for egg donors.
Sperm.
Oh my God, do we have another
Yes.
business idea? Oh, okay.
Well, energy trans got a lot. I feel like she could add it to her list.
Here
Why
we
not?
go. New business.
And you love sperm.
I love it.
Hey, hinge for sperm.
Here we
Wow.
go.
Okay.
2025.
Springe.
Oh my gosh.
It's
okay.
cute. It's
That
cute.
is
I
cute.
like
Sounds
it.
good.
Yeah, I like
Fun.
that.
But I think the idea is just being prepared. It's knowing how your body
Yeah.
is and what you're
I guess
capable
it's just like
of,
also
right?
when you're that
Yeah.
age, you're just like not thinking about your fertility.
Right.
You're
health.
thinking about not getting
You're
pregnant.
doing the
Yes.
opposite. You're like, okay, energy, and you can take that idea and go F yourself because I'm going.
fertile.
Yeah. I'm literally locking this shit up.
I haven't gotten
I'm
my
done.
period in about a year, but I'm ready for babies. Like,
I'm triple wrapping
No,
and
girl.
going out.
I'm using that banana condom.
Let's go. What are you
I
trying
put
to
a
do?
condom on every banana I eat. Oh my
Well,
God.
do you think there's been a rise? Because I don't know if it's now just we're more at the age and we hear it more, but it feels like more and more women are having more and more issues with. More women are getting pregnant when they're 19.
No,
what were you gonna
wanting
say?
to.
Going. No, keep it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, from friends to like people close to me who have had issues, and I don't know if that was such a thing 10 years ago. If you're seeing it more, or if it's just because we're in the age.
I mean, there's the example that is most often presented, which is that women are having kids older and older,
Right.
which irks me because what's not mentioned in that scenario is that sperm quality comes back to the sperm quality is declining rapidly, and that's barely ever highlighted. There was a paper written
Ryan.
by get out of here, Ryan.
Ryan.
He doesn't have a mic. He can't speak up.
There was a paper written by a Harvard physician who wrote about how we're essentially going extinct because of how quickly sperm quality is declining, and it was buried. And I'll find it for you. We can put it in the show notes. And it's really irritating because women will come in to see me, and they've had everything checked, they've had all the ultrasounds. And I'm like, okay, well, where's your semen analysis? Like, and they're like, oh, well, he hasn't gone yet.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, pardon me?
Right.
And they're like,
That's part of the
There's
routine.
less
that they
stigma
they're like,
around
oh,
it, right?
he doesn't want to. I'm like, for sure. You've gone
sure,
and
for
you've had water and like various forms of fluid put up into your body as an ultrasound and a sonohystogram. You've gone and you've had various things scraped off of your cervix, multiple things removed from you via samples, blood, cervical tissue, etc. And so for sure, he can't, ejaculate into a cup. I fully understand. Oh my God, the discomfort. No, leave. That's not for you.
You're ready for phase
Are
2.
you serious? Get out of here. No. I had to leave. I had an assessment with a couple, and the man was like, you know what? I just can't. It's stressful for me. And all these suggestions you're making about, getting rid of my THC and getting rid of my evening bath. What? What? I just can't. It's part of my self-care. And his wife is looking at me and nodding. I'm like, blink twice. I will get you out of here.
Help.
Leave. Run. What?
Oh,
You think this
my-
man is going to get up in the night and make a bonhole? Do you think that's going to happen? He can't even ejaculate into a cup.
The
The
rest-
shower, no problem. But a cup? No.
Too
Drawing
many
the line.
flags.
What?
Too many flags.
Wow. Okay. Well, honestly, this is a good marriage. You're also a counselor. Like that is like
Well,
actually
don't just get yourself tested.
Yeah,
Talk to your
No, but
partner.
truthfully, imagine you with like the maturity to do that with your partner in university or college and be like, we're both doing this. Let's
Yes.
go. You know, but I'm kidding. But
but,
women are ahead of the game with that shit
but
anyways.
not-
but not
please
really.
do that.
Well, I feel like it's just always us. It's like we're the ones who are
Yes.
always getting, to your point, poked, prodded, tested. It's always assuming
Extracted.
it's the women's issue, right?
Yeah.
And
Why
never
is
the man's.
sperm health. Why are they declining? Why are they
Also,
slowing down?
I was gonna say, isn't it like aren't like 70-year-old men having babies still?
So the odd 7-year-old man might have a baby, but it's probably through IVF. Like they're 28-year-old, 29-year-old men coming in with terrible sperm quality.
Right.
They're not getting anyone pregnant.
Oh
So-
shit! So then, can they fix that?
Oh, most definitely, which is the most frustrating
Oh, so
part.
it's like fix it right. There's
yeah.
So men can do something about the quality
Yes.
of
Yo, it's
their
amazing.
sperm.
In 62 days, they have a whole new
What?
set.
Ugh, that's annoying.
It is. So that's where I get very irritated because they're constantly talking about egg quality, egg quality. Well, honestly, our eggs, aside from age, are pretty well protected. So, like, we can go and have warm baths. We can smoke THC within reason, but they really can. It really does affect their sperm quality. And it's this idea of like women, when you're pregnant, you have to sacrifice everything. But men prior in the fertility stage don't have to sacrifice anything.
right.
What? 62 days versus 9 months?
That's crazy. Well,
It's
you can keep
insane.
taking those warm baths, Ryan. You don't have to worry
Enjoy.
about that.
What's like some top good sperm? Because this sperm is your thing, as we know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Give us some good sperm health, so people like Ryan or
Yes.
our listeners can share it to their male counterparts what
Most-
they could be doing.
Yes. Okay. So I'm so thrilled you asked me that. Again, love it.
Honestly,
So get off your Pelotons. Number one.
Ooh.
Get rid of your really tight shorts, your really tight briefs.
Let them breathe.
Let them
No
breathe.
Speedos.
That's right. There's a reason why they're outside of your body. Respect it.
Okay.
No hot showers, no hot baths, no saunas, no steams, no THC. Take your vitamins.
Which ones?
So,
Ask
I mean, I would start with
AGO.
like just a basic men's multi. Bird and Bee actually makes a really cool pack for men.
Birds and bee.
No bird and
Bird
bee.
and Bee. Like the lip gloss company.
Yeah.
Burt's Bees.
Well, just
Bird
checking.
and Bee. They make
Okay.
a really cool men's prenatal. That's appropriate for most
Oh,
men.
gotta take a prenatal. Yeah,
Yes.
right, Ryan.
Oh yeah. Oh,
See, would you?
What's
you?
that movie?
Would you take a pill?
yeah. That's the
Okay.
thing. I'm most men are pretty on board. They
Okay, good.
really are
That's great.
excited.
Except for that one one
Excited.
guy.
Except for the
Relax,
one
man, excited.
loose bag
Right.
who couldn't give up his bag, his
his
bag.
bath. His
He
bath.
couldn't give up his bath and his THC. If I walked in on my husband in the bath with like a joint, I would just leave. I'd be like, that's all the excuse I needed.
I just
I'm
hate
out-
baths
I'm
altogether.
outta
I hate
here.
bathing my
Baths?
kids.
Yuck.
I hate baths.
A man in a bath
It's also
feels
just, like,
wrong.
more- yeah.
A man in a bath feels wrong on so many
I
levels.
can't really talk about
Especially like
baths,
a small
actually.
one
It's triggering.
where they're like,
A small man or a small bath?
both.
Okay. A small man in a small bath.
That would be actually okay. But like a large man in a small bath or a small man in a large bath.
It's just like
The
shower. It's
ratio.
more hygienic. Get the shit off. Why are
Yeah.
you sitting in it?
Get it off. Make it cool.
Yeah. Make it cool.
Take your vitamins.
Take your vitamins. Okay.
Okay, so that's a good list. So I was going to ask, when do people come to you? So we know like the testing beforehand,
Yeah.
the freezing of the eggs of the embryos, what to do to keep the spermies happy.
Yes.
Now, when are people like, I need to see Energy Trianne?
I think once you have a qualm, then that's when you want to come see me. So
little
like
hiccup. Little,
you've been trying for 3 months or yeah.
because that
yeah.
always changes. Everyone's like, I've been trying for 3. It's like until there used to be
Yeah.
a thing. Until you're trying for a year, don't even
Yes.
talk to me. And then
So
everyone's
that's
like,
if
old
that I
school.
wouldn't be worried. If you came at 3 months and you're like, I haven't gotten pregnant, I'd be like, no worries. Let's go through what you're doing and we'll make it easy. We'll identify when you're ovulating, when you're not. whether or not your follicular phase, the first half of your cycle before you ovulate, and your luteal phase, the cycle, the part that's after ovulation, until your first day, your period.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
But making sure that they are, 14 to 20 days and then 14 days, they're around there.
So people will come to you if
Yes.
it's been a couple months and things aren't working,
Yeah.
and then you do.
Or if you don't necessarily even need to have a partner and you have really
Right.
bad cramps.
Right.
That's a
want
hiccup to
Dana-
me.
I-
If
I
it just
know.
feels
Fine
like
for
there's
you.
some, well, I came to you after I had all my BRCA shit and I
Yes.
had my ovaries removed and I was dealing with all this hormonal stuff.
Yes.
And someone was like, oh, you should go see Energy Trian. And I went to your beautiful space. And you know what I didn't realize? That the room, you're with all those women in the room.
Yeah, it's
What?
No, so I was like, oh,
a giant commune.
it's no, it's literally a
Sounds
commune.
scary.
It was a little scary, but then
It
Anne
is.
comes up
It
to you and
is.
she like whispers
It
in your
is.
ear.
No,
She's
no,
like,
I don't like it. I still don't like it.
she's like,
You sit there and she comes up and
She
whispers.
comes up and she's like,
Ew,
"Hi."
And I talk about my love of sperm.
Okay, so go on.
Can't wait to have you join.
And then everyone watches while Anne
no, everyone. It
pins
feels
all
a
over
little
you.
interesting at first because you're like, huh?
where is everyone? Like, you're not doing a good job of explaining it.
Imagine a yoga studio with only a very large space,
Okay.
but only 9 mats, right?
Okay.
You're staring up at the ceiling. So instead of mats, massage tables with like additional padding. So like everyone's sort of in their own bubble. Nobody's really looking at anyone else.
You can't see anything. It's dark.
It's dark. There's-
Everyone's doing their own treatments at the
Yeah.
same. So you're getting like 8
Yeah.
in there at once. You
Yes.
are smart. Pack them in. You can do 8 treatments at once.
Yeah, and this
Well, 'cause
way
you're just
too.
lying there.
Like my mentor's in New York, and I love her, but I hate getting acupuncture because you're in these tiny rooms.
Sterile and it's
Yeah, you're lying on these like paper beds, and it's crinkly. It's uncomfortable. The room might be too hot or too cold. I can't contact her because she's left me. So I'm like lying there, just like
can't
it's
contact-
hell.
I've never actually had acupuncture.
Yes, so this way
It's
I'm in the
uncomfortable.
room.
Right.
If
You're
someone
just
says
walking
to me,
around
you
doing
know,
energy
they're like,
things.
"Hey," I'm like, "I'm there." You know what I mean?
Okay, so
But it is crazy what you can affect through acupuncture.
I've got so many
Yeah.
questions about acupuncture.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, can I, if I wanted to, I could label any type of issue I was having, and you could say I could fix that with a pinpoint.
Well, I mean,
I'm not fixed in
it's
terms
more
of.
like I like an integrative approach. So I have a lot of doctors that I like to work with, and I like to have them, bestow their expertise, and then I work alongside.
Okay, so like the general fields. Let's just talk general fields. Like
Yes.
fertility is obviously a big one.
Yes, like a
Like your
lot of-
reproductive, that's a big one. What
Yeah.
about like digestion? I can imagine that
Yeah.
digestion and diet being like a huge one, right?
Yes.
Like people that aren't regular or that just are having
yeah.
allergies and
Yeah,
shit.
acupuncture it's really helpful for that. It's important, I will say though, to find someone where that's the only thing they focus on. Whereas if somebody says to you, like I don't love it when you have all these alternative health practitioners who are like, yeah, I can help you with this, I can help you with that, I can help you with that. How?
Stay in your lane.
Stay focused.
Stay in
Find
your
one
lane.
thing
Yeah.
and do it really well.
And that's exactly it. But actually
bit.
do it really well. Like, don't just
Actually
say
say
that you
yeah.
niche, like, oh, I've decided that I'm going to now niche in fertility. No, like I worked as, I was basically this acupuncturist in Vancouver's little bitch for
Yeah.
about 3 years while I was in school.
Yeah.
And he only did fertility. And then after that, I, went and I did additional mentorships. And then after that, I did a 4-hour exam in 2018, which like gave me some credentials.
Okay.
And then after that, I started only at that point, like I'd been an acupuncturist for 8 years at that point. And only at that point did I say, okay, I specialize in fertility.
Wow.
People who are like, I just got out of school and I specialize in this.
Well, they're
Right.
trying to
Like,
get catch
no,
all.
you
Little-
don't.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Ponzi scheme.
Well,
We'll
and
just screw
actually,
you.
I feel
out.
like acupuncture. So I used to get horrible migraines.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, and acupuncture was the only thing that fixed it. I tried different meds, different things. It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's
And I feel like I don't know, it just seems like recently more people are believers in it.
Yeah, I think enough people go, have good results, and then they tell other people about their results.
Right, because
Right.
it's not like you're not promote. It's not scientifically based?
No,
like
there's a
acupuncture,
lot
or
of
there is?
studies.
It
Yeah,
is. Okay,
there's-
so then it
there's a
is.
lot.
It's just it's an alternative.
No one's looking for those.
I think
studies.
people are
Yeah.
looking at more like IVF, probably like
Yes.
if, at least in fertility, more
Yeah,
I guess not medically based, but like things that they're more familiar with.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Basically, wherever there's going to be money, there's going to be studies.
Right.
And so there's a lot of money in fertility. So therefore, they're studying everything and anything that could be
Do with it.
beneficial
Yeah.
for fertility. And so, I mean, I'm thankful because then acupuncture has gotten
Like
thrown
push-
into
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
mix for actual like research based.
but let's just big you up for 1 second because how many, I know, do you call them you call them acu babies?
Oh my God, it's like your success rate.
No, literally.
It's like when
baby.
Donald Trump would say something and be like, fact check wrong. It would be like,
No,
"That's
it's
Ann."
crazy.
There's-
She's made
What-
a
what's
crazy
this-
number of women pregnant.
You keep
Quite a
track. How many?
Huh?
I said quite a few.
What?
Oh, say the number.
I don't
This is
know
her
off the top
biggest
of my head.
flex
I
yet.
do know in 2020 because I sort of had a lot of people
Get
coming to see
babies,
me
okay.
and then not a ton else to do. We had 231 acu babies, which was cool because we were closed for 3 months, so that was neat.
What the fuck? What is that?
And then
A lot of
and
babies.
That's a lot.
a
of
lot.
babies.
And then we doubled that in 2021. And then this year, like this week alone,
500.
Sunday, Monday, and then today, I've had 7 positive pregnancy tests.
And what is like the
Not
reaction
personally.
of women?
Not that good.
I was going to say, yeah, over here, the nun. I just can't keep her freaking legs closed. This one, she's at 6.
Sperm and vulvas.
Easy.
Let's-
6 kids?
It's crazy. I thought I was insane with 4. 6 is amazing.
So much fun, especially when you just leave them at home with your husband and come do fun podcasts.
Yeah, true.
I find at some
Yeah.
point though, and I don't know if you agree, they just really entertain each other. Like,
I'm
Yes.
finally getting to that stage a little
Yes.
bit. But that doesn't come at the beginning, as you know, because you have one in every
No.
year.
Yeah.
wait, so how old? What are the
I
kids?
do
what
I
are the
like
ages?
to do them in batches. It actually
Oh.
wasn't. It wasn't
Not
on-
twins, like
baking.
Irish babies.
Yeah.
Baking.
Yeah, like Aiden and Maddie are 51 weeks apart.
Oh, you're talking weeks.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not even-
They're
okay.
like
What is that even?
my
Is
little
that a year?
not
Yeah.
quite.
Not even.
It's under. It is
Wow.
under
Yeah.
restraints.
But you've also had your own pregnancy journey. Pregnancies have
Yes.
not come so easily to you.
No,
either.
I've had many a miscarriage, which
Right.
is where the batching has come in
Just
handy.
just whenever
Yeah.
you can, just
It was-
throw another one in there.
It's really a bizarre trend. It'd be like 2 miscarriages, 2 kids, 2 miscarriages, 2 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
a
So
trend,
that's
though.
so you knew you had to end on 6.
I mean, yes.
She's up for another 2
I-
miscarriages and
I'm
another.
ready for another. No, I'm done. I'm like, I'm
Do you
too
feel
old
done
for
though?
this
You
at this
feel
point.
done.
I know, because I feel like that's actually a really big
Yeah.
question. Is women are just like, when am I done? Do I want to have another? I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm done yet.
I
You
kind of
were-
like, I look around the room and if I feel like everybody's there, then we're done.
Hmm.
And I
Everyone always says that.
I
but
did.
I'm-
I look
really
around the
feel
room
that
and I'm
way.
like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
So after
so-
5, you looked around the room and you
Yes.
were like, I feel like someone's missing.
I feel like someone's missing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
That's
your
so
6 came along.
sweet.
Yeah,
You
and
really
then
felt that. Yeah.
I really did.
Well, because I mean, I'm in a different situation right now, but I did have a really hard time. Remember, stopping at 3,
Yeah.
it was like a weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling for me, and I thought it's not that I like love. I mean, I actually like the baby stage, but anyways, it's just
different-
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
I remember feeling the same thing though. I was not done after 3. My husband was like, I was done after 2.
Yeah.
Not really, but you know, it's hard when your partner is sort of in a different stage, and
Yeah.
and then so I have 3 girls and a boy, and then when I had my son, everyone was like, "Well, you got your boy," and I'm
Oh, my
like,
God.
honestly,
So annoying.
what is with the I mean, I'm sure you got comments having 6
can't.
children. I know they're all different genders, but like, people need to stop with the comments.
Yeah, I know. It's really it's an odd assumption. Like, I
Yeah.
really liked actually when you were pregnant, you were like, don't ask me if it's a girl. Like, I don't care. Like, but wait, is that true? Did you care or no?
No, I honestly didn't. I
Yeah.
honestly didn't. Now having 3 boys and then
People have
seeing them
gender
as little.
disappointment, and
What?
I said people.
Gender
Some people have
disappointment, yeah.
they have
Yeah,
gender disappointment,
totally.
But
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I was genuinely surprised for all 3. And I honestly had no gender disappointment.
Right.
And I actually still don't. And if I don't know what the hell my future holds, but yeah, like I see having nieces and I don't know, there is like obviously that connection, but I don't know, really was never that like big of a priority for me. Some friends, it was like they had to know or they were going to be
disappointed
in the labor. And
Yeah.
I think that's cool because you know yourself. And I think that
Yeah.
that's important, like
Yeah.
for the people that had to find out. But
Yeah. No, how many miscarriages did you have?
I was same with you with a pattern, but mine was one to one.
Yeah.
Miscarriage, pregnancy, miscarriage. So it was never, they told, my doctor told me unless it's consistent or
Yes.
sorry, consecutive,
Yes.
then it's not really viewed as much. It's just kind of like but I still knew. I was like, okay, here she comes.
Yes.
Like I always had in the back of my mind that pregnancy was never going to work. And that was also fucking weird because I'm like, was it psychological also?
Right.
Once I started to see the pattern.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I know. I felt the same way.
Like you're like, you knew after the one, you're like, the two's
Yes.
coming.
I know.
And then it did come.
Yeah, and then
It's-
you're validated in your thinking.
Oh, it's weird.
I know.
But that's why it's so crazy how connected your body is.
Yes. No, I don't think we like brought it on us. It just was what it was because of the percentage of like 33% of all, pregnancies become miscarriages. And so some people are really lucky and they end up on the right side of the coin more frequently.
Right.
And then there's peeps like you and I.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it like helps build appreciation for your children, but I will say my sister, whenever she went for an ultrasound, she never had a miscarriage. And she was just so joyful and like so excited to go to those ultrasounds. And I always had like a
Panic attack. Like,
yes, like let's just get through this. Like it's
Yeah.
not even reserved. It's like I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid they're gonna tell me that I am about to have a miscarriage.
I know.
Mm.
I actually, what I did though, I found this like one OG.
Good place.
It was a good place, and she was my girl, and I only saw her.
Yeah.
And I booked with her, and she would always be like, she would tell me, and like they won't say. The worst thing is they don't say anything too, and you're sitting there, and you're literally like trying to read their eyes, being like,
Yes.
is there a fetus alive?
Yes.
Or dead? Tell me. And they're just like, and especially with COVID, you got nothing. You couldn't see the face, so you only could see the eyes.
Yes. And
Anyways,
they're clicking.
Well, and they're just like talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
And they're just
they're just clicking.
Clicking,
Yeah.
clicking,
Long
clicking.
pauses.
Long
Click,
pause.
click, click.
And
Yeah.
the zoom. And the zoom. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
and you're not with your partner if you have one because
Yeah.
you're in
Yes.
that room alone,
Yes.
right?
Anyway,
during
so the
COVID?
whole thing, anyways, I had an OG that like would just be like, she
You're-
would basically tell me and would give me the heads up or like give me my space. And it was like the most respect. I don't know. I got so lucky because to have someone compassionate
Yes.
in that moment when your partner may or may not have
There's
been
a
in that
lot of
room.
anxiety around
Yeah,
that.
it was just really nice. So, I mean, she was great. She's at, I'm not,
I think they should be allowed to give certain information.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Like they're allowed to say the gender, but why aren't they allowed to then say if there's a heartbeat?
I guess it's like credential, like they're not the ones that are able to actually
No, for sure.
like get the other
they're not
person in the room. Yeah, get the radiologist to confirm.
Why then? But they're still allowed to say, here's, the gender. And like, I mean, I'm not a radiologist, but I'd assume that being able to see the gender and being able to see if there's a heartbeat
Is
They should
similar.
be
would
allowed
be
to
a
say something.
similar amount
Yeah.
of skill.
yeah.
I'd always walk in and say, I've had recurrent losses. Can you just tell me if there's a heartbeat?
Yeah.
And
they'd
did they?
say yes or no. And
they
they
did.
were pretty good about it.
That's
yeah.
sad.
Well, that's actually a good thing too
and
for
advocating for
women to know,
yourself, 'cause
right?
it's
It's
a
like
huge-
when you get into that room, if you know how you are, then just say like, this is what I need from you, and if you can't give this to me, then I'll just wait, or I'll
Yeah.
see someone else, or I can't.
Right.
I know it's
I
gonna
will have a
cause stress.
meltdown
Yeah.
in your
I'm
clinic.
gonna call
Yeah.
Anne. I'm
I'm
gonna call
gonna
Anne
cry.
and get her in this
I'm
room.
gonna
Yeah.
freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to just, like I knew that I had to see this one girl because she relieved a lot of the anxieties. You have to advocate for yourself. And it's not easy. You've been through it once, but then you'll learn. And it's the same
Yeah.
thing with it's not that you appreciate it more or less than people that didn't struggle as much, I guess, but it's more just like, it gives you new perspective. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It made, for me as like a woman, going to university and trying and doing all these things and, just you get what you put into something.
Yeah.
Not being able to do that with your fertility was really hard. For me, it was like, no matter what, I felt like I couldn't figure it out or whatever. And
Yeah.
it was out of your control. And I
Yes.
guess that was a good life lesson for me, at least at the beginning, that some shit is just got to be out of your control and you got to learn how to be resilient and deal with it. And whether it's educating yourself or finding a different path, like it's just not always going to be what it was for your friend or your sister. We had such different journeys.
Totally.
For
But there
totally
is a
different
lot
reasons.
now that is in your control, which is
Right.
amazing. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's so much more
Yeah, like
education around
advocating,
fertility, around starting young, all the conversations on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I know you just started the Fertility Journeys
Yeah.
account, which is also incredible because it's a positive spin on fertility stories. I feel like there's so much negativity around fertility. And I think what those stories do is they give so much hope and so much positivity around what can be like sometimes such a negative thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing that you started that.
I did it in the way I started it because of all of the positive pregnancy tests that I was posting on my other account. And then I wanted people to understand that those positives were coming at a serious expense, be it, emotional, time, financial. And I want people to see that they weren't the only ones. Like something that I say all the time in the clinic is, I wish you could be a fly on the wall and see how many other people are in your exact same shoes, so you'd feel not so alone. And so I thought, I'm just going to put a call out on my account and see how many people want to share their stories. And I was inundated with people being like, I want to share, I want to share, like 100+ people. And I just did Zoom interviews like over the holidays. So like from December 19th until the end of January, I did 100 interviews with people and their full stories. And so I'm sharing bits and pieces, and some of them are still in progress, in that they haven't had their baby yet, but most of them have ended in a positive pregnancy test and then a live birth. Which, to your point, like I get really irritated in the fertility space online because it's so many needles and letterboards with like just the most depressing statistics. And I'm a big proponent of, not necessarily like a positive mindset. I think that that's kind of toxic as well. Like if you think good things will happen to you. Yes, to an extent, but also a lot of people think good things and then bad things still happen to them. So by having this page, people can read these stories and see themselves in these people, and they're not just like imagining a positive outcome, they're reading about one. And that way too, they can use the information that helped that particular person. Like for instance, maybe I need immune testing. Maybe my, thrombosis is a concern and I need to have testing to see if I have excess, clotting. All of these things that you wouldn't think about, especially if your doctor isn't advocating for you to have these tests, you can then go in and advocate for yourself. Because that's one of the most common threads is the self-advocacy. Like all of these women with their pregnancies, they all advocated. Nobody was in the back seat. Nobody just had things happen to them. They all had to hold on to the reins and like really direct where they wanted to go. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like we've talked about this a lot on the podcast with breast health, with whatever it is like you with like as a woman with your health need to speak up. No one is speaking up for you. And I think it's hard too. Once you've had kids, it's like taking time for yourself, whatever it is, whether it is fertility, gut health, like anything. If something feels off, like you need to advocate and speak up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Charlie Goss, actually, she's a stylist who I'm a big fan of her. She's actually going through oral cancer right now. And when she had her diagnosis, she said, I think it was in a story highlight. And she was like, if something doesn't feel right, go and have it checked. She's like, I went to countless numbers of GPs and I had this checked and everybody told me to go home. They gave me antibiotics and now here I am waiting for an MRI.
Ugh,
and all of these GPs wrote to her
Right.
and we're like, how dare you? We're trying our best. And I love doctors. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan. As a hypochondriac, love doctors.
Yeah.
Should have married a doctor. Maybe I will. Phase 3. But like, you really, they have to, like, doctors have such a weird role in today's society of this like God-like figure that you can't talk to. And like, you can only talk to their nurses and you can only talk about them, to one health concern at a time. And it's like, why am I only allowed to talk about one health concern at a time when they're clearly linked? Like, of course you're not getting the right diagnosis.
Right.
You're not looking at all my symptoms.
Right.
And then you're taking their answers
Yes.
as like, well, whatever you say must be right.
Yes,
and if
a
something's
patchwork quilt
and
of
that's
answers.
What, like Jamie Milne, who I know is
Yes.
obsessed with you, has talked so
Jamie.
openly about PCOS. And she's like, the number of women now that I've spoken about it who've come forward and said, oh, I have something similar. Now I'm going to get this checked. Like, I also feel like as women, the more, to your point, we
It's
talk,
the education.
and the more
that's
we
the
say,
missing piece.
exactly,
Yeah.
like I'm getting this tested or I'm using this and this has helped me, then the more awareness there is out there. So it's so good that women are speaking up.
That's the thing. Yeah, she had a huge germoid cyst and then she has endo, and she was adamant
Yeah.
before she went into that surgery, you know, there's something wrong, there's something
They
wrong.
were like, no.
And everybody told her, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, you're young. It's just normal PMS symptoms. And she was adamant, no, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And she was right.
And she was right. And then her surgery took like
Hours.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to be the lesson.
Yeah.
Always advocate for yourself. I just don't think it's always that easy. So I think that you have to find in whatever you're advocating for, like the resources to figure out what you're trying to speak up for, because it's hard to get to that first spot if you don't know what the hell you're doing. You know, like you're 18 in university, you're partying, you're not thinking, you know, but if that was implemented somewhere, I don't know. It's just like how to spread the knowledge. And I guess the more people, social, you know.
So
talking
on
about
the your fertility stories,
Yeah.
I'm going to have highlights. It's still in its infancy, but I'm going to have highlights, which are going to be self-advocacy pieces. So essentially questions, because that's the biggest thing that I think people need help with. The questions to ask.
Yeah.
Exactly. To ask
So-
the healthcare, because they don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So I have this. What do I go
That's
in
great.
asking for? I have that. Where's the research that I can point to? Because the number of people, for example, polyps. So many
Oh
people.
my God. I think everyone has polyps. Isn't
So
every
many
woman?
people. No, they don't.
Isn't that just like
I think
part?
my dog has polyps.
But it's almost impossible to have successful implantation if you have a uterine polyp.
Mm.
And you have clinics that are doing IVF transfers into women with known polyps.
So that's just
And then they're
ridiculous.
like,
You're wasting
we
everyone's
don't know
time
why
and
the
money.
transfer failed. What? Of course you do. So I started this reel. I'm not that advanced. This highlight section where I just gave all of these studies on how polyps, ensure that you will not have a successful implantation.
That's amazing.
That is
And people now print them out and they take them
It's
to their
good.
doctor and
That's,
say,
that's so great. That's
I need
amazing.
this.
Yeah.
before. 'Cause you can't say
Maybe just
no
start charging for that.
to a crazy witch.
Take it off your Instagram. Put it on your website. Let's get a
I was
subscription
gonna say
going.
that should be like government.
You're
that
so
should be
funny.
like
No, Jan, I'm just seeing dollar signs
Oh
go up.
my
I don't
God.
know, but you seem to have a lot of freaking power over there, and
Oh my God.
I feel like you got a lot of mouths
Yes.
to feed. So let's go. Just don't post that for free. Let's go.
No,
No,
my
yeah.
new business manager. I honestly, I need it.
Okay.
I
Well,
need it.
we have some time on our hands.
Oh
so
my God.
I was
Phase
gonna
3
ask
together.
about
I'll
that.
pay, I'll pay through acupuncture.
Okay, let's
Okay.
do a wrap up.
Okay, so
Wrap it up.
To wrap it up, or not to wrap it up,
Yeah.
because
That's the
sperm-
question.
Yeah.
to
And
wrap or not to wrap, and it
Yeah.
is not to wrap. In Anne's words,
Yeah.
bring on the sperm,
Bring 'em
test
on.
that sperm.
Yeah.
Unless you're dealing with me, and then
Oh.
wrap it up. Get out of here.
Right?
Leave.
Wait, what?
Wait.
I thought you want to deal with more
No,
sperm.
like I don't
Oh, but the-
personally.
she just likes dealing with it in general,
Yeah.
not personally, but just
Yes.
generally.
Like
I
a
don't
semen
believe her really, 'cause
analysis.
she's
Like
got
if
so
you
many
were to
kids.
bring me actual sperm, I would.
Yeah, not for you.
Call the
Well, that could be a
police.
side hustle. That could be a side biz.
We'll save that for another podcast.
Call the Toronto police. That would be that.
All right, Anne. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank
on that
you.
note, what's the
Honestly.
title of this episode? Is it just going to be
Vulva.
Vulva.
Vulva?
Vulva.
Like that.
Like that Seinfeld episode. Her name rhymes
Yes.
with vulva. Or her name, Malva.
Mulva.
Vulvas, vulvas.
I still,
Vulva.
honestly, Dolores does not rhyme with clitoris.
Dolores,
well, it does.
clitoris.
It's just
Yes, it
not
does.
IS. It's ES and IS.
Yeah, but
it's
that would be like her name would be like Dolores.
Dolores and clitoris.
No, it fully rhymes, Anne.
I-
Dolores, clitoris.
Hi.
All right.
Do
Well,
you call it your clitoris? No,
Uh,
no one does.
what
If
do
her
you
name
call
was
it?
like Flit,
You call
then
it
fine.
What?
You know?
But What do you
You know
call
what would
it?
have made more sense?
No, I know what you call it.
Rit would have.
Fritzy rhymes with Fritzy.
Oh, well, that was just my
I
nickname
feel like
in
that's your.
high
I
school.
feel like that's your password for everything. It's like
Tell everybody.
Sorry,
Fuck,
it's like
Lauren.
Clitzy 1 2 3 4.
Ugh, honestly,
All right, gotta go change. Gotta go change your
Cute.
alarm code.
That's super cute.
Okay, thanks, Anne. Bye.